Hi everyone, and welcome to the January 18th Contour community meeting. I'm Nick Young. I'm a maintainer on Contour. With me are Sanjay Pasha, Alex Zhu, and Steve Chris. We're all members of the Contour team. We're just going to run through some quick announcements and discussion about a few things. Since we are without audience members today, we'll probably wrap up after we made a few announcements. So first up, the biggest thing to tell everyone is that Contour 120 will be released sometime late next week. That's sometime the 27th or the 28th of January, probably. It's a pretty big release because it's our first quarterly release. We aren't going to be cutting an RC this time because we've had a beta already, and it's pretty light on big feature changes. Please give us some feedback about that if you prefer us to see us how much time you'd like for an RC or something like that in the future. Does anyone else have anything on that issue? Should we move on to our status updates? Okay, cool. So yeah, status updates. The big one at the moment that we've had a couple of updates on the issues for is Lua and WASM. Now we've got a reasonably old issue that we've had around for a while that requests support for Envoy filters, particularly Lua. And I've been pretty reluctant on this for a few reasons. And I'm going to put some more words in this issue to preserve this for the future. That one of the things I'm worried about here is we have an outstanding issue with our XDS handling. That means that if something goes wrong with the setup of any of these filters, we can't tell you. And so that in mind, we have to fix before we can make this available, because we can't give you a feature that means that you can silently break your Contour install. Like, I don't feel comfortable releasing a feature like that. I think the other thing that we've got to be clear here on is that if we make this available, it is extremely important that it's going to be, if it is an opt-in or something like that, when you do that, you need to be aware that this is a big Swiss Army knife. But the thing about Swiss Army knives is there's like 20 million tools and it's pretty easy to cut yourself. So that's the other thing that I just want to make sure that we've got something written down about. So I'll just quickly share this one. So yeah, this is the issue. There's been a couple of updates. I really don't want people, as Pickett said here, that forking Contour to get something like this. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is this is not a no. This is we've got some stuff to do first, but we will be making something like this available at some point in Contour's future. Definitely, we definitely will be making some sort of extremely configurable filter available at some point in Contour's future, and that's what I'm going to write up to that extent. Okay, now Sanjay, you've opened a new issue here that sort of runs through what we can do about WASM. So can you just run us through what this issue is?
Yeah, so just generally we were discussing related to the kind of idea that people want a little bit more powerful custom logic and handling in their ingress configuration. So WASM is another tool similar to Lua, but maybe a little bit more bounded, a little bit different than Lua, that Envoy supports, that we could leverage as a useful thing that people may want to use as a Swiss Army knife, as Nick says. So this issue is just kind of an exploration to start. We had chatted as a group of maintainers to start to explore what would it even look like to support something like WASM in Contour. What are the practicalities of it? Like, how do we deliver your code to Envoy? How do we like, if we solve the NAC issue, how far does that get us, right? Some other details about supplying WASM scripts and WASM code and reporting errors back to users and whatnot. So just doing a deep dive into how we can like the practicalities of it, and hopefully out of this either comes a design document that means that we're going to implement this feature, or a well written and detailed explanation for why we may not, or why this maybe we more dependencies that we need to work on, or work in Envoy or other working contour that needs to come first. So yeah, hopefully this will help, and if you have any specific things that you need from WASM, or any sort of like Swiss Army knife tool like this in Contour, please let us know. We can talk on this issue. I know Steve K has done a little bit of experimenting already, just to getting things started. So yeah, we're thinking about this and doing some work on it. So hopefully get some progress sometime soon.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Sanjay. Yeah, so I guess the thing that I want to reiterate here for recording purposes is, yes, I think we should do something like this. Like, it's clear that people need the Swiss Army knife functionality, and that although in the past I've been pretty worried about people asking us to come and help them fix the cuts that they got from using the Swiss Army knife, like, the fact is that more people need it than that should be a concern. So, at some point we will add something like this. We just need to make sure that we've got everything lined up first. That's the thing, and that's what I will be putting an update into this issue at some stage later today. So yeah, does anyone else have any other updates or discussions that we need to do as part of this meeting today?
Do you want to talk about the there's a PR that someone opened around TLS delegation for Ingress v1?
Yeah, sure. That's
Maybe we could just chat on that real quick.
Yep.
So they basically added an annotation that can be added to an Ingress v1 resource that allows you to specify a namespace to pull the TLS cert out of, which lets folks continue to use TLS certificate delegation with Ingress for v1. And I know, Nick, you have more history on this. I mean, it seemed reasonable to me, and it seemed like since this worked with v1 beta 1, and we know that there are folks that are using it, like, this is a reasonable approach to support it for v1. Obviously, we don't want to proliferate annotations, but in this case, it seems like a reasonable solution. So just wanted to kind of get other folks' thoughts.
Yeah, I think that this, I mean, as Pablo says, like, I suggested this when we had a chat about it. So I think this is I agree that this is kind of the best that we can do here. We can't change the Ingress v1 spec. We can't, but we kind of left people behind in this respect. And so this is the best that we can do to help them. And I don't think that one extra annotation in this case, like the cost of adding one extra annotation in this case is not worth the fact that we are leaving people behind if we don't. So I think that we should do it. I haven't had a chance. This is on my review list for today. But yeah, in general, I think this one looks good. Sanjay, do you have any thoughts?
No, I vaguely remember talking about this before, and remind me if this is correct or not, but this will only let you grab that, use that secret if you also have a TLS delegation, certificate delegation resource as well, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So it's so this is actually the exact same. This is actually the inspiration for the reference policy mechanism in Gateway API.
Right.
And yeah, so the whole idea here is safely crossing namespace boundaries in Kubernetes is very difficult. And so that's what the TLS certificate delegation is for.
Nick, correct me if I'm wrong here, but just as background, with Ingress v1 beta 1, you could specify namespace /name of a TLS secret in the Ingress spec. And
well, you could, the / was a valid character.
Right.
And so possible for us to define that, string/string meant namespace/name.
Right,
In
yeah.
Ingress v1, the slash has been removed as a valid character via validation, so you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, so that's what's led to this feature no longer working with Ingress v1.
Exactly.
So this is essentially another way to get at the same functionality.
Yep. Yeah. So basically, we'd done a sort of a bit of a hack based on the fact that there was no validation on the v1 beta 1 spec, and yeah, the hack bit us in this case. So yeah, this is just us tidying up that hack and making it work with the newest thing. So I think that this is, again, I think we're extremely reluctant to add more annotations without a good reason. This is a good reason. Yeah, so I'll just note this down that we talked about it. But aside from that, is there anything else?
So what release is this going to be part of?
I think this is pretty close to ready, I think. So I'm pretty hopeful that we
Just
can
have
get
to
this.
merge it,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
It needs some more tests. I commented on it late last week, just asking for some additional tests, but we wanted to confirm that we were comfortable going forward with this approach before. I think this person wanted to do more work.
I'll put it in 120 for now. And we'll see if Pablo can come back and do the more and fix up the more tests. And if that is the case, then we can get it in 120. Otherwise, I'll push back to 121.
Was it could
I
pick
will-
up a patch, right? Of 120.
Yeah, this would probably be worth, even if it doesn't make it in. This could be picked up in a patch, yes. Because
Yeah, I mean it's a feature, but it's a pretty
it's a
small
bug
one,
fix,
right?
really, right? Like, yeah, we are fixing the bug that our TLS certificate delegation does not work with Ingress v1. So I prefer to get it into 120.0 if we can, but it depends on it depends on how close bandwidth. It looks like he has been making changes like a few hours ago, so hopefully we should be able to get it in. Cool. With that, I think we are out of agenda unless someone has something else. Nope. Okay, cool. Well, with that, I'll call the meeting done. Thanks, everybody. I know it's a short meeting today, but hopefully we should have some more updates for you now that the whole team is back.